little bit nervous and that. Either way, you're in the right place. Yep, you're in the right place. Now I want to start off talking tonight a little bit about mindset. Mindset. It's a word that's bandied around a lot. Mindset this, mindset that, growth. It applies to everything. But what's it about? It's actually mostly about how you see things, how you look at things, how you interpret a given scenario. You know, a bunch of people can look upon the same event in their life or externally and interpret it totally different. You know, do you perceive obstacles or do you see opportunities? You know, obstacles or opportunities is a really good question because those that perceive opportunities rather than obstacles take a totally different road in life. Yeah, and you know that the Chinese character for crisis is actually the same as opportunity. Yeah, so out of crisis comes opportunity. That's the reality. And how you look at these two things is critical. So I asked you a second ago how you feel. You know, are you pumped about the weekend or are you a bit apprehensive? Because of the fact that feelings are everything. How you feel in life is actually the guts of life. You know, you might have 200 million bucks in the bank, but if you ain't feeling so flash, if you're unhealthy, if you're depressed, shit, you might as well not have that 200 million in the bank. Yeah. But also understand that feelings are actually the impetus to generate that which you desire. So you can't wait for external circumstances to be right to start feeling to generate the stuff that you want. It doesn't work like that. You've got to be feeling good in the first place. So feelings are so critical because they're attached to action. Yeah? Every action that you do is coloured by the feeling that you're in. Now who understands intuitively that our actions are coloured by the way we feel? Yep. When you think about it, it's really quite obvious that your feelings colour all of your actions. Yeah, every action that you conduct is coloured by how you feel. You know, you either go into something pumped and charged and confident and ready to go, or you might look upon it as, you know, lacking in confidence and struggling with it, or I'm going to struggle. But you're going to struggle if that's the case. So feelings are so important because actions come from how you feel. And the reality is most people have no idea where feelings come from. They assail them from behind the bushes. You know, they're hiding behind the stands. They're coming out from the ether. The reality is that we create our feelings. You create your feelings, not external circumstances. You would have heard of people that have been in these sorts of guys that have been locked away in camps of the enemy, etc. If you fold yourself over to turn it into a puddle of water, then that's what you're going to be. It's actually a choice to feel how you want to feel. So, feelings are in your control. It's firstly critical to understand that they are within your control. You and you alone are responsible for how you feel. And as Abraham Lincoln, old days US president, said, most people are about as happy as they desire to be, as they find it. You know, some people are unhappy the whole time. Who knows people who are unhappy all the time? They're pissed off about everything. They're looking for an opportunity to get pissed off about something. Mate, you're going to get cancer if you live your life like that. And it juxtaposes people that are on high all the time. They choose to be. You know, and those people are pleasing to be around. So I want to start off this evening by turning to somebody next to you, getting a good feel, James Brown style, saying, I feel good. Hit somebody next to you with that. I feel good. Coca-Cola and stuff, not drinking enough water. Most people are dehydrated. beliefs and its thoughts. If you're not feeling crash hot, or if you are feeling crash hot, if you're feeling sensational, either end of the polar scales, ask yourself two key questions. The first one is, what was I just thinking? What was I just thinking? And if you're not feeling good, I can just about guarantee you that you're thinking disempowering thoughts. You're either considering past negative outcomes and stuff that didn't happen the way you wanted it to happen, or you're considering future potential negative outcomes. Now, our Western world is very past and future oriented, and it's a bad place to be, because if you think about the past or you think about the future, you're not there yet, you're powerless, and you're generally be in a sad old state. You go to Buddhist countries like Thailand, and they live in a very, very and that's what meditation is about, connection to breath, because it's the most bloody present thing. We in the Western world aren't there yet. But that's a big thing for this weekend for you guys, to be as present as you can. Soak up this experience, and in order to give yourself over to doing anything at top level, A grade, top shelf, the best you can be, you need to be present. So I think this weekend is a good test for you guys to be able to be present. So first of all, if you're not feeling crash hot, if you're feeling crash hot, consider what your thoughts were. Secondly, you ask yourself the question of, what would I have to believe to feel this way? What would I have to believe to feel this way? So if you're feeling depressed, down, lonesome, whatever it is, you ask yourself, what would I have to believe to feel this way? And you often turn up sort of beliefs like, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, uninspiring, bullshit like that. It's not necessarily, beliefs aren't true, but they're just assertions that you hold. And the more that you repeat stuff to yourself, the more they become your reality. So, thoughts and beliefs are how you come to feel the way you feel. And it's up to all of us to challenge your thoughts and your beliefs, because your thoughts and beliefs are not you, your body's not you, your activities are not you, your soul is something different. And you've got to take control of your beliefs and your thoughts, and you can. So, be aware that there's this formula. Beliefs and thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings colour all your actions. Your actions determine your life. Most people are getting around out there in this sorry state of action. They're going in, like running a dog into a given meeting, and they wonder why it doesn't go well. And it's their responsibility to take care of how they feel before they hand themselves to whatever activity it is. Your actions equate to your outcomes. So it's a simple formula, but it's the keystone of life. But understand that at the basis of this pyramid, that the keystone to this archway of profundity is belief. Belief underlies all this. If you have belief on your side, you can do extraordinary things. We've all seen and heard of stories of people doing extraordinary things based on the belief that they have. And similarly, if you don't believe that you can do something, don't even try, you will fall over. If you're compelled with your own belief, you can do extraordinary bloody things. Extraordinary things. As Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. You think you're a winner or you think you're a loser, you're right. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. There's nothing more important than the power of belief. So how do you generate belief? How do you generate belief? Well, the great religions know this. They've been doing it for thousands of years, but they're not the only ones. Belief. It's only one way you can do it. There's one way known to man to generate belief. And it's all about how you talk to yourself. Yeah? So who's talk? It's affirmations. It's self-talk. It's repetitive suggestions to yourself. Who's heard of a sports psychologist or an elite athlete talking about their self-talk? Somebody? Anybody? Yeah, they're on about it all the time. Having worked with sports psychologists, they'd be drumming this in my head when I was a 20-year-old. I thought, bullshit. And now I just know that it's reality. The problem is most people's self-talk is really, really negative. And they don't even fully aware that's going on for a start, but it's saying really damaging stuff. Like you can't do it, you don't deserve it, your mother told you couldn't do it. Whatever it might be, it's bullshit. You've got to turn this voice off and insert what I would call equivalents of seeds of extraordinary things to bolster their belief to a point where they're just invincible, unassailable belief. And I reckon the biggest exponent I've ever seen of this was a guy who did his best work in the 60s. He was an athlete, he was a boxer. He came to be known as the greatest. Who am I talking about? None other than Cassius Clay when he was young. Nobody in this room really old enough to see this dude doing his work. But I saw Wendell Kings, which is when he was a 30-year-old, fighting George Foreman in Zaire. And the way he would go, I wrestle with an alligator, I tussle with a whale, I handcuff people through a phone engine, I built something different in this fight. He'd go on like this, and I heard what a mountain was when he was young. I mean, I've got to see this. And as good an athlete he was, man, such a graceful, fluid athlete this guy was, he's just like very few people, like he's Jordan, he's Bradman, he's Ali. But as good an athlete as he was, mate, he was almost a better orator and a comedian. And bear in mind, this is a 20-year-old dyslexic kid from the South. When we're talking Malcolm X and Martin Luther King times, it's extraordinary that he didn't get killed. His first title fight was against a guy by the name of Sonny Liston. You know about Liston? Liston was like a huge hulking figure, a big version of Mike Tyson. And he worked for the mob, he had this indeterminate age, he was totally intimidating. And people would just shit themselves in their fight, and he'd just destroy people. He was the young player who looked more like a track athlete. Fair dinkum, he didn't look like a boxer, he looked like a 400-metre runner. And people thought he was going to get killed. People thought this dude was going to get killed, and that all his bluster was just bullshit. And a lot of people wanted him to get killed because of this smart arsery that he was coming good with. And he would go on and on and on. Man, champion should be pretty like me, not ugly like that big ugly me. I'm too fast. I'll never get hit. I'm too fast. I'll never get hit. I've had 100 amateur fights and 22 professional fights. I'm pretty as a girl. I never get hit. Asking my fans when they go away disappointed. I'll never lose a fight. I'm the greatest. He'd be going like this for 20-year-old. Unbelievable. Because he fought Sonny Liston and he made Sonny Liston look like a tired old man that wasn't in the race. This guy was everything he said he was. But he was a poet. He'd write poetry. He'd dedicate his whole soul to being the best. Yeah? And when he wasn't fighting and training, he'd be getting his mind in shape. Yeah? And he was a poet. Fairly good. So when he'd go into public, he'd articulate his poems to bolster up his belief into some unassailable thing that he literally had this glow of impervious, I cannot be beat, I am the greatest. They bail him up the press all the time. This one particular time, I was so impressed with this, I committed to memory. He's standing next to a grand piano in Liberace with a very camp pianist of the days. He's there and saying, what about you for a change, Cassius? And the young player, boxer, dyslexic, from the South, downtrodden, produces the following. This is the legend of Cassius Clay, the most beautiful fighter in the world today. He talks a great deal, brags indeed, of a muscular punch that's incredible. The fistic world was dull and weary. With a chant like listen, things had to be dreary. Then someone with colour, someone with dash, brought fight fans a runner with cash. This kid fights great. He's got speed and endurance. So if you sign about him, increase your insurance. This kid's got a left, this kid's got a right. And if he hits you once, you're asleep for the night. And as you lie on the floor and the ref counts to 10, you pray that you don't have to fight me again. For I am the man whose poem is about, the next champ of the world, there isn't a doubt. And I'll tell you here that I know the score of the champ of the world, 64. If Cassius say beat and pull a plow, don't ask how, hitch him up. Hitch him up. Here's a guy with belief. No one's barking for him, no one's saying you can do it, mate. Him and his two mates are in the corner, and he's doing all of this on his own. Best athlete on the planet, one of the cleverest guys on the planet, no one gave him anything. Amazing didn't even get killed. He didn't become a loved figure in America till the 80s. It's just an extraordinary level of belief. That is belief. And his ability to generate belief through his words he was broke. He sold his wife jewellery to heat their Philadelphia apartments while he cold there. So she shot the coop, she's out of there. There's him and his dog left. You remember Rocky 1, Bootcamp, the beautiful big American bulldog? Him and Bootcamp were there. He got so broke, so down, he went and sold Bootcamp. He describes it as the saddest day of his life. He was absolutely distraught. He had no money. He goes down to the liquor store. He sells his dog. He's coming back in the rain, bawling his eyes out. Then he sold his best mate, his only friend. And one thing he did have in his friend's apartment was a black and white television. He turned it on. There was Muhammad Ali fighting this white guy. I don't really know what to do. White guy. It was the equivalent of a 1980 Ford Escort versus a 2012 Veyron Bugatti. Ali was just making this guy, it just was a total mismatch, you know, and Ali was turning into a cauliflower. But the white guy didn't go down. The white guy kept taking on his hit. The white guy took extraordinary punishment. He just kept persisting and fighting on. Sloane was watching this and, oh my God. He started to see what was happening. And in the back of his mind, an idea came to him. This is a metaphor for people's life. Most people are fighting this fight that no one cares about. And they have this moment in time where they can do something extraordinary. And his idea for what became. He started writing. He wrote for like 30 hours. At the end of that uninterrupted 30 hours, he dropped the pen, his hands were shaking, he knew he'd done it, he knew his life had changed. Wasn't quite sure how his life had changed. He started to then go and market the film, the manuscript to the producers. And his position right from the outset was, well, I'm out. He was used to poverty, so he's willing to take the full-on balls out punt. You know, this is 1974, he's totally broke, he's got $20 from selling his dog. The first offer was like 40 grand. Didn't take it. You know, a week to 100 grand. And there's a few different marks along the way, but got up to 360 grand. But that's a lot of money in our language today. You know, who would have fallen over for that? Most of us. But he had this vision, he had this belief. You know, you can picture the conversation. He said, oh, you're right, sir. I'm this thing. Come on, mate. Listen to you. You sound like a spastic. Look at you. Your head looks like it's been a vice. It's not going to work for you. They're lying up there, Frayne, or some other cat. He said, I've got that. So he eventually ended up taking, I think it was like 25 grand plus royalties for the film. His interview I heard was, and they said, well, what did you do? Straight up. What did you do with money? He said, I went down to the liquor store and found the guy with my dog. He'd been waiting in the rain for 3 days until the boom turned up with budgets. And he wouldn't sell the dog back for $25, he wouldn't sell it for $50. He obviously let the cat out of the bag about the story in his film, because he ended up paying $15,000 back to get the dog back and give the guy a role in the film. Yeah. And he realised that budgets had started following, so he was in the film as well. So, incredible story, but the point there is that he had incredible belief. He had incredible belief, and he didn't care what other people said. He didn't care what external sources were. He didn't need the little trinketry of stuff that people need in this highly materialistic world. He was after something deep, and the punt that he took on himself, it was the pebble that unleashed this Stallone avalanche that we've all lived with for the past 30 or 40 years. Probably 1975 he won Best Film. So just extraordinary, but understand that he had to deal with something that most people don't deal with well at all, and that's fear. You know, fear stops most people. Fear, we all have fears. They're lurking in the shadows. They're there all the time. Whatever they are, how frequent they are, how intense they are. Fears knock most people over like a bit of a breeze. No gumption against the fear. And the funny thing is that it's irrational. Most fears are irrational. Who's had fears that just never came to pass, never panned out? Should be all of us, because 9 out of 10 fears are bullshit, excuse the French. Now they just don't come to pass. So the one fear that comes through the gate doesn't end up being anywhere near as intense as what you thought it was going to be. Our mind just goes into this extraordinary extrapolation of a potential bad outcome and turns into a nightmare. your mind, and it's not a bad representation of what most fears are like. It's not worth being fearful. President Roosevelt, the US president during the Great Depression in the 30s, had a famous quote, which was, "There's nothing to fear but fear itself." There's nothing to fear but fear itself. And what did he mean by this? Well, going back through the prehistoric ages, when man was running on the plains, fear was a useful thing, it was a useful tool. You know, when you're vastly inferior on a physical front, you've got all these animals looking to eat you. You know, you need to get into DEFCON 5 mode real quick if you had a saber-tooth tiger on your ass and get out of there. You know, and get this huge adrenaline rush, this fright or flight syndrome that allows you to act fast. The reality is that in today's society, so rarely is there any need for any of that. It just doesn't exist, but our amygdala in the brain still produces this fright or flight response. It's modern day stress. People are fearful about the past and the present and what's going to happen. And, you know, a lot of people are in a constant state of fear and stress. You're going to die of heart attacks and cancer and life if you can't deal with fear. And that's what Roosevelt meant as far as it's this stress response that's to be the most feared of all. Have you ever seen anybody that performs well on an athletic front, on a work front, on a speaking front, on any type of front that's tight? It doesn't happen. Look at Usain Bolt before he's hitting the line. He's doing things, routines to get him loose. You see, most sports people before they act, whatever it is, the cricket between balls. Most of them will have a subtle routine to do between balls. You see Bolt behind the block, he does the same thing every time. You see footy players, when they take a mark, or better ones that used to shoot a goal, they'll go through the same set of procedures to get them to stay. So, fear should disappear if you confront it. A philosopher way back, Emerson, his name was, says, confront your fears and they disappear. Confront your fears and they disappear. And remember that you only see the great people after they become great. You only see Stallone after he's become a rocket. You only see, Jordan after he's become what he became, this extraordinary phenomenon. You don't see him not getting picked in high school basketball team, which he didn't get picked. Most people were thrown in the towel. The thing that made him what he was, and it's hard to believe, I know, because of the fluid, graceful cat that he was such a beautiful athlete. That's not what made him what he was. He'd get to training before everyone else, he'd leave training before everyone else, he'd train harder with great focus while he was there. He'd hit stones than everyone else. He put it all on the line every day, and that's what allowed him to be. And he conquered his fears, the illusions. So, turn to the person next to you and say, I'm bigger than my fears. I'm bigger than my fears. Go on. Comfort zones. Are we operating in our comfort zone or out of our comfort zone? And extraordinary people doing extraordinary things get comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah? They're stepping out of their comfort zone all the time. By definition, if you're doing extraordinary things, you're operating out of your comfort zone all the time, which is just not the case for most people in this soft, overfed society that accepts mediocrity. Now, who knows somebody that does extraordinary things that operates in their comfort zone? There isn't one. People that are doing extraordinary things are pushing limits, going outside their comfort zone, taking risks, challenging themselves at a level that allows them to play at a whole different level. And this goes to happiness too. Yeah, there is this gross misconception in society today that comfort and ease equals happiness. I'll repeat that, comfort and ease equals happiness. What a crock. What a steaming pile of putrid excrement that is. Comfort and ease equals lethargy, laziness, mediocrity, heart disease. It's death. And yet that's what we crave for in today's pathetic society. Comfort and ease, I'll be more comfortable. I'll do it easier. Mate, you're going to die young. oh, there's a million different theories. Oh, and what's happiness to Jill is different to Bob. It's been boiled down to three things: ends goals versus means goals. So ends goals are the things that you're doing with these goals to get. The means goals might be, I want to earn 200 grand this year. An ends goal is something far more significant. Yeah, it's what you want in the end. Ends goals fall into three categories. Their experiences, yeah, their growth, and their contribution. So if you think about experiences, growth, and contribution, none of those things are easy. So comfort and ease is not where it's at. As I say, the reverse is true. The more you can subject yourself to stepping outside your comfort zone, even in a punishing type of way, the more you get bigger and bolder and greater and stronger every time you get a bit stronger until you turn into something like ugly, if you're really, some level of extraordinary. Who is in TED Talks? Anyone? TED Talks? Out the back. TED Talks, you should all be watching TED Talks. Turn off televisions, it's poison. It's going to kill you. This is such mediocrity. It's suits this. TED Talks is the greatest people in the world for 20 minutes talking about what they know about. The greatest people in the world. In order to get into the audience of TED Talks, you've got to be specially asked. So the people talking at it are world-class folk. So there's a guy there, his name's Sayer. Can't really know enough. But this dude ran 100 marathons in 100 consecutive days. He ran from Los Angeles to New York. I've run half marathons, and mate, I'm not backing up next day to run another one. And I've always been athletic all my life. This dude wasn't even a runner a year before he did this. He decided he was going to do it. If you want to watch it, it's called Do the Impossible, this talk. So he wasn't a runner. He told people what he was going to do. Champ. That's impossible. He's been living with the impossible all his life. He got run over by a car when he was told when he was 12, told he wouldn't live. So anyway, he wasn't a runner, trained himself up. Not only was he running every day a marathon, he was given a motivational speech to wherever he was at the end of that day and blowing people's minds with what he was doing and raising money. Yet, so this is what he did in 100 days. Extraordinary. It makes the sort of limits and goals and boundaries and aspirations that most of us have just look like wallowing in the gravel. This guy wasn't what he now has become, invited to TED Talks to be good and guard at. He just started out normal life, and he had this desire. But my point about comfort zones is, and you hear interviews with people that have done similarly impressive physical feats of extraordinary endurance and the like, and they all report a similar thing, which is that, funnily enough, this conundrum occurs whereby they reach their highest levels of satisfaction at the most grievous levels of pain. There's this barrier through which, if you become something else on the other side. But you've got to earn the right to become that thing by slugging your gears it out, getting through the barrier. And you might not even know when that barrier you've hit and gone through it is still a reflection from the future to that event. So it's clear that the more you can push yourself and your limits and your comfort zone, the happier you are, the better off you are, the bigger you get, the greater your esteem gets. And this is easy to understand. And persistence is not a real sexy word in today's society. We like immediate gratification. We like low-hanging fruit that takes nothing to get on. But persistence against the odds, and the guy who keeps punching on after he's been told that he's lost, mate, he is the guy that wins. The crowd might not be there, doesn't matter. He's the guy you want to back in life. And I go back to our beloved Rocky Balboa, our fictional character. In the final Rocky film, he produced a quote when he's talking to his real-time son. It's been bandied around everywhere in motivational circles. He talks about nothing about hit is hard in life. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. That's how winning is done. And so when you see Jordan with his flashy action, it's just, oh my God, how did you do breakdown of how to do that. Mate, that's just come from more persistence, more work, more guts in it out, bigger ticker, more fortitude. That's how it generally goes. See, pain is temporary. Pain might last for an hour, it might last for a day, it might last for a week, hell, it might last for a year. But on the other side of pain is something magnificent. It's your better self. Yeah? It's a better version of yourself. It's glory. It's esteem. It's more opportunities. You become a bigger person on the other side of pain. But if you give up, if you fold, if you quit, that pain is with you forever. Because you know you folded and gave up again in life. And the people that give up make it a habit. They say they're going to get up in the morning and do whatever, they don't do that, and then it just permeates everything, and then they start operating on a belief that, I just don't do this stuff because I'm waiting for peace. I'm like, yes. Excuse me, correct. So pain is temporary. So this weekend, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you're challenged? What are you going to do when you don't want to do stuff that you've probably never done before? I'm not sure what you're going to be doing. You might be slithering your guts through a muddy pool and broken glass and having to jump past wire and wiping your genitals caught on that. You have to scrub on all your stones and all that. I've got no idea how tough it's going to be. Not on the yellow. Not in that program. I'll avoid the stones laceration. So what are you going to do? I want to encourage you and challenge you to put your best foot forward and operate on this different level, this other level that you've got inside you. Yeah? Because it's there. So turn to somebody again, a different somebody, and say, pain is temporary, and I'm going all out this weekend. About how all emotions stem from either love or fear. And the grandson says, "And which one wins, grandfather?" And the wise sage simply says, "The one you feed the most. The one you feed the most." And this is just the same as your best version of yourself. How often do you get your best version out? Yeah? How often do you push yourself so that your best version has to come out? He takes some prodding, he takes some poking. The best version just doesn't come out of bed. Mate, you find the most extraordinary people get up, they've got a routine when they get up. They do something to get their body energised, to get their mind in a certain state. To get this best person functioning, there's certain things that you've got to do. So I think, this weekend can be a line in the sand for a lot of folk to figure out, who this best person is. Everyone's got one. Now I want to talk a little bit about vision and goals. Vision and goals. And the reason I want to just touch on this is because having vision, I'm not talking out of your eyes vision, I'm not talking about, hallucinogenic drugs vision on the ayahuasca in Peru. But that'd be good. I'm talking about vision of your life. What is the picture of what you want? What is your ultimate canvas for your life? Because people who do extraordinary things have big vision. They have a bold vision. Yeah? Something that takes courage, something that takes stamina, something that takes constant focus, something that will allow them to say to everybody else, doesn't matter what you're doing, because I'm doing this. And goals along the way punctuate the journey towards this vision. Now, I'll give you some examples. Steve Jobs, for example, decade now, extraordinary life. In the 70s, he had this vision that everyone could have a home computer and they'd be connected. Now, this is silly talk in the 70s. This is when IBM dominated the landscape of computing. They had big room-sized computers, and computing was for boffins, for people in white coats, and people doing extraordinary stuff on the intellectual scale, not the normal ones. Stay away, bird. This is the vision that Jobs had. And of course, that might not be, but what do we all have in our pocket now? We've got a computer with more power in it than the US Army had access to 15 years ago. Extraordinary, this exponential level of computer power and technology that we've got access to now. But Jobs had this vision. We don't all have to have a vision that big and that mind-blowing and mind-baffling and world-changing. But most people don't have a vision at all. Most people don't have goals at all. Adam Gilchrist, who I know, he used to go around in primary school, signing autographs and giving them to other kids and saying, you want to hang on to that. I'm going to be famous one day. And famous not far down the track, ended up taking him to the 27 to get the Australian team. But that sounds pretty arrogant and conceited doing that sort of stuff. If you know Adam or man or you can see him, you know he's got those things. He's a lovely guy, humble guy, great family. But he had a vision. And he had a decent dose of belief, and he had the gumption and ticker and courage to go and chase it. And look what he did. Great batsman, wicket batsman, whatever you want to call it, the history of the game. But he was only able to do it for a start because he had this vision. He had a bunch of goals along the way. There's a Harvard business study done recently about a bunch of Harvard graduates and where they were in 10 years down the track. And looking at the results, it's quite mind-blowing in that 4%, the top 4%, had more wealth accumulated than all the rest of the 96% put together. 4% had more wealth than the rest of the 96% put together. These are Harvard graduates, they're all smart people. What was the difference? What was the difference? Were that 4% smarter? No. Did they try harder? Excuse me again, no. Did they have better breaks? No. Did they come from better families? No. Did they have better connections? No. What they did, what they had, was clear written goals. They had clear written goals and they dedicated time to this, if not on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. So this all goes hand in hand, obviously. If you're doing that, you're generating your belief, you're watering the mental seeds of where you want to go on a frequent basis. And your goal? It might be to change your mindset, it might be not to give up, it might be anything, it's not up to me. But being goes for the next 30 seconds, what's your goal? extent where you've actually gone through a barrier that you've never gotten through before. Because as I say, when you actually go through some sort of barrier of this, and then barriers can be breached in all sorts of places in life. But when you're on the other side of it, you'll know you've gone there and you are a different person. You're walking different. You've got to, you're not dependent upon the claps of other people. You're able to be this thing that you're self-driven. So really hope that you can take that on and push yourself to your limit and bring your best self to the table. Bring your best self to the table and push the worst side of the table and the other guy away. So tonight we talked about mindset and how your beliefs and thoughts become your feelings and your actions, etc. We've touched on fears and how you've got to punch through them. You've got to get the other side of them. And when you do, if you can, there's nirvana there for you. We've talked about comfort zones. It's critical to be able to breach comfort zones and live out of your comfort zones. The more you can do it, the more satisfied and happy and more well achieved you'll be, more purpose. So, know what you want and why. Develop the beliefs and furnish the beliefs and thoughts that are going to serve you well. And act. Take action. It's the main thing. So I want to finish by firstly saying that you can do extraordinary things. All of you have ingenious within you. All of you have extraordinary things to offer. You might not have found it yet. You might have found it yet. But it's up to you to get it out. No one else is going to go dig it for you. And this life of ours is about finding that genius within you and having the ticker to persist. Yeah. So I want to finish by getting us to all do a declaration together. If we can all be upstanding. I'll say a line and then I'll go like this, and then you say your line. Yeah. So when I say state your name, don't say state your name. State your name. Yeah. So I state your name. Do hereby solemnly swear. To commit to go all out, to play full out this weekend. To bring my A game and my best self to all the challenges. To inspire my colleagues by going beyond my comfort zone. My enthusiasm and vigour are unlimited.